Shouldn't we call a spade
Okay,
now?
when somebody goes missing,
Whether it was President Jonathan's administration or President Buhari's administration, they haven't done the nation well in terms of Chibok girls.
I will want to agree with you on that.
Should we take any other story about the Chibok girls other than a rescue of at least one?
There is no. It's a blunder. It's a blunder by the government of the day when it happened. And I'm beginning to see a lot of blunder too on the part of the government that is beginning to come to take that over too. There is a lot of I's that has not been dotted and a lot of T's that has not been crossed. There is this situation where the president is passionate about bringing them back, and the Minister for Information may be interested in saving the image of the president by what he says. And we need to come together as a team and take some responsibility. If the Minister for Information and Culture is coming out to say we're winning the battle on insurgency, does that necessarily translate that we're winning the battle on terrorism? Because they are two different things. The United States, United Kingdom, United Arab Emirates has never one day come out to say they are winning the battle on terrorism. They are still fighting terrorism up to this very moment. And they've not been able to come out to tell us that, okay, in United Kingdom or in United States, there's not going to be terrorist attack, or we've managed to subdue the terrorists within our society.
Wanted terrorists and wanted individuals are fished out. Some are killed, whether men or women, even if they left the country or far away. Yeah. These people are uncovered. How come those who perpetrated this dastardly act, not one has been found? No stories about the Chibok girls. I'm looking at the number, and I still think when we talk about numbers, we're talking about over 200, and not one has been found to give even information on the whereabouts or how it occurred. And we sit pretty, and former president has said that, look, you can't find these people again. But don't you think that the nation should be speaking to us on the whereabouts of the Chibok girls? Are they alive? Are they out of the country? What informed the former president's talk, or should I say speech on that day, which is the crux of the matter, as we speak, because it breaks every Nigerian's heart?
Okay. We got something wrong right from the onset. The power of information and communication technology. We sent in men, guns, and gunpowders when we were supposed to be gathering information, encouraging people to communicate to us. And I strongly want to believe that most of the answers to your question, we are hoping to get it from the panel that is being initiated by the current president.
Another panel?
Another panel is being initiated by the...
No, I'm asking, should we wait for another panel?
We shouldn't wait for another panel. We should take a step in the next direction now. These Chibok girls are missing, but I can assure you more than 3,000 or 4,000 people have been killed after they have gone missing. So we're still losing life daily. Nigeria is the only country on the planet now that, maybe in the space of 1 week, we're losing more than 300 souls, and we are not perturbed about it. And that's why I'm going to still appeal to the government that we seem to be getting something wrong. I have great respect for the military. I'm a very, very strong friend of the Nigerian police force and every other security agencies. We need to start using the power of information and communication. We are not gathering enough information that can translate to viable intelligence. And we need to go back to the drawing table. We need to create a media whereby we can encourage people to supply information. I can assure you, other than the police and the Nigerian army and the people of Chibok, there are people within Nigeria, within the northeastern Nigeria, within the West African coast who knew about the Chibok girls. You can't move 50 cows.
A moment. What do we do with the information from people around the area? For instance, would you call the statement by the senator as information for the Nigerian military and the government when he said Boko Haram is still very much in charge of 3 local government areas? And don't forget, he didn't even stop there. He said you also have them in other local governments, but they are fully, in his words on camera, fully in charge of 3 local government areas.
Okay.
Isn't that some kind of information
It's
that must be verified?
It is an information that must be verified. And anybody that says that senator is lying should be challenged to take a drive unguarded, unharmed around those 3 local governments and come back alive. If there's any military personnel, police personnel, DSS personnel, minister, governor that says the senator is lying, the only way you can verify that information is that let the governor take a drive without his full convoy and stand in front of a camera with his state CTV telling us that, well, I'm now in Dakwa, I'm now in Chibok, I'm now in so-so places. It can be verified before the end of today, and let him make that available to members of the public.
Because what more of them have told us is that Kalabalge, Eastern Burma, Southern Dikwa, those areas, look, no-go areas. And then they say, look, some of the areas that the military are, yes, they are in some local government headquarters, but then they are adjoining cities and villages, still under the control of insurgents.
You see, the moment terrorism turns or graduates into insurgency, it becomes a different ball game.
I think they're just using the phrase interchangeably.
No, I'm not changing it.
No, I mean, people who
okay, so they're just changing it. But one thing I just want you to know is this. Anybody, anywhere in the world cannot say categorically that they've been able. You may be able to say out of about 50 insurgency facing you in a combat, you accounted for 30 bodies on the floor. But you cannot tell us how many are coming back from their troop where they are regrouping, how many has been embedded in the town, how many of them are even part of your own team who are leaking information to them. You cannot say that, and that is why I want to urge the government not to be too quick in coming out to tell us that they've won the battle when we are still counting bodies and when explosion is still going off here and there. If you ask me today, I will tell you that not even Lagos, Ibadan, the Edo State, Abuja is safe. By the news I'm hearing this morning that even the president have to order that every vehicle coming into the villa is well screened.
Isn't that a routine check? They screen vehicles when they're coming.
Well, that's the type of routine check that is coming from the president. It's not something that we get every day. It comes as a result of certain intelligence they might have gotten. And let me tell you this, government establishment has been bombed before. If Boko Haram are still going to stick to their mission statement, they still want to bomb more. You know, and we should try and prepare ourselves, guide ourselves, and be proactive in our activities, our operations, our effort in combating them based on this type of premises.
If we backtrack a little bit, remember when the president said there was no credible intelligence as to where the Chibok girls are. And then you remember at that time, which you also alluded to, how we had a lot of support from the West in terms of many of them wanted to contribute intelligence, support, and all whatnot to help us locate where they are. And then one will ask, what happened to that after this government came into being? Couldn't we have continued or leveraged on that to find out what was going on?
It will be difficult. If I put myself in the position of the current government, it will be difficult to accept what I can call the failure, the package of failure in terms of intelligence, in terms of operation, which we're beginning to see. Money that was supposed to be spent were not spent. Chibok,
you mean that there's failure right now?
No. I'm talking about the failure they inherited. You understand? I will want to say that there is need for them to actually analyze everything they inherited before they can go forward. If the previous government traveled on a route that led to the disaster we're seeing today, I wouldn't expect the current government to just inherit that and continue with that. There is need for analysis, there is need for proper investigation, there is need to separate fraud, there is need to separate fiction from fact, and then you can now continue your journey from there. And if you ask me, could that be achieved in 8 months? I will tell you it cannot be achieved. But it cannot be achieved in 8 months. It could be an ongoing work in progress, which you are getting certain material that you can use to work.
So you're saying no progress can be made in 8 months?
I'm not saying no progress can be made in 8 months. All I'm just trying to say is that the level of progress being expected by members of the public may be a little bit over ambitious if the government of the day are saying that they can do that. How long does it take to move people out of West African coast? Within 72 hours of moving through the desert or moving through anywhere, anybody can be out on road.
Doesn't it depend on how many people and where you're going through?
Well, I can leverage it on that, but at the time, the president of Niger Republic came out to tell us that he knows the whereabouts of the Chibok girls. So if I'm going to respond to you, I will say to you that as at that time, the Chibok girls were in Niger Republic.